Be confident, be bold, be authentic, but don't forget to take action. This is Ordinary to Badass, where our stories empower women to step into the spotlight of their own lives and pursue what they're truly passionate about. It's time to step into the arena and become more than just extraordinary. It's time to become a badass with your host, Marie Sonneman.
Welcome to Ordinary to Badass, episode number 18. In this episode, I'll be talking to Amy Schweim. She is the owner of Women's Radical Pursuits. Amy takes women on outdoor adventures to Mexico and Peru. She combines mountain climbing, yoga, and cultural exploration. Stay tuned because I know you're going to love this episode. Welcome to Ordinary to Badass. Whether you're ordinary or you're badass, I'm glad you're here. We are all striving to be confident, bold, and authentic so we can live a life that we're passionate about. Today's guest is Amy Schweim. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Marie.
So first off, before we go any further, I have got to ask you, do you consider yourself to be ordinary or badass?
Well, I can confidently say that I don't consider myself to be ordinary.
Nice.
So I would say that badass definitely resonates more with my style.
Uh-huh.
But in the same breath, I also feel like there's a level of humility that comes with that consideration because it didn't happen overnight.
So can you explain that a little bit? Like how the humility, apparently I can't talk, how the humility comes with it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny. I think when I look back in kind of in my 20s and maybe early 30s, I reflect and see that I kind of strive to be badass in more external ways, like in the sports that I was pursuing.
Uh-huh.
For example, like mountain biking or kayaking and skiing and things like that. But when I look back, I kind of see it as more of, I think there was a lot of insecurity that I felt. And so it was in a way that I almost was trying to prove myself, which I look back and kind of shake my head.
Yeah,
but
totally.
I think I think I kind of had to go through that. But I think what happened and where the humility comes in is, I was there about mid-30s. I did go through kind of a, what do you say, like a big kind of life hardship, right? And just a great challenge that, really kind of went to my ego. It kind of really hit me it got me into a pain, real deep pain place. And
right.
Through that, I feel like I went through a transformation, and I just wanted to change. I wanted to be better. And, from that experience, I feel like I did a lot of healing and a lot of self-exploration. And the really cool, beautiful part of that is that's where I feel like I started to get to know myself and what made me tick. And from there, pursuing, starting my own business, I feel like a lot of that humility comes from that whole journey of just when I went through that hardship to really putting my head down and creating something kind of bigger than myself. And there was a lot of challenge and struggle in that, but I feel like it did give a lot of humility, and it gave me a lot of strength too. So
yeah. And I can relate to that more than you know. But,
yeah.
But I work in law enforcement, and when I first started out in that, I would try to be tough, or I was around it's a male dominated field or predominantly males that I work with. And so, I would try to be tough, and I kind of lost my confidence, but I would kind of try to show it like by, like the physical things where that's not where, your confidence comes from. And
absolutely.
And I just think like being a badass, kind of like you were saying, it's more like mental toughness, and it's not all about the physical like people think that it is.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's a funny thing because I grew up on a farm in Minnesota, brother and cousins, a lot of boys, uncles and grandpa and yada, yada, always trying to kind of prove myself on the farm.
Uh-huh.
They all were like, oh, go inside, but it was like, no. And then when I moved to Crested Butte, Colorado, is kind of where I really started to get into extreme sports. And then it was like, I really pursued, it was all physical, and it's really interesting to look back on, but it also, all that stuff, I just look at my life as everybody's life, right? Everything happens for a reason. We have to go through things to get to the next
Yep.
spots in life. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't even predict it if you wanted to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yep.
can you go ahead and share with our audience a short bio? Just tell a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. So, yep, my name's Amy Schweim. I'm the owner and operator of Women's Radical Pursuits. I'm also a life coach. I run these trips with my company, Women's Radical Pursuits, and they incorporate mountain biking, yoga, and cultural exploration to provide empowering adventures of a lifetime for women in Mexico and South America. So I do that. I have a couple trips a year. I also do private life coaching, and I'm a local family advocate here in Durango for the La Plata Family Coalition, kind of the work that I do in between trips.
Mm-hmm.
But, my heart beats to really help improve the lives of others.
I love that.
I really truly feel like everything I'm doing is, I do it, I'm doing a lot personally to grow, but I just love helping people kind of, reach this, if they have the desire to reach the same goals, just to be the best version of ourselves. But yeah, so like my with life coaching, I help people who feel stuck and miserable in their lives leave behind a life of lack, limitation, and fear to discover what they truly love to do and become the best versions of themselves so they can finally feel happy about who they are and how they lead their lives.
So what do you see that usually holds people back?
Oh, fear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fear and, just that self-doubt. And I'm speaking from, speaking from direct experience personally. I think back, even 5 years to where I was to where I am. And, and that's what held me back. And so as I am doing this work, I really do see that it's like this underlying thread that, I think being a human being, we all have it, right?
Right.
But
yeah.
it's just a choice of, how much of it we're going to believe. So
Totally.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
for Radical Pursuits, you do yoga, mountain biking, and then cultural exploration. Is that right?
That's correct. Yep.
So how did you come up with the combination of those things?
Well, I put everything I love to do, I just put it all together and turned it into a business.
No, I
I
love that.
Yeah, yeah, honestly, we can, I don't need to go into all of it right this second, but yeah, I a couple of years ago, about 4 years ago now, I met a guy, just kind of this coincidental encounter, and he used to be a life coach, and he asked me a couple questions that just totally changed everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just really powerful, and then I pretty much begged him to work with me as a life coach, and he really helped draw this out of me. But until we started working together, I just always kind of believed like, okay, well, get a job that pays the bills and keeps me existing, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I
Right.
wasn't in love with what I was doing, and then all of a sudden this guy was just like, had these questions that just helped me really kind of break those limiting thoughts and start dreaming bigger, and like what do I really want to be doing? And so yeah, I did. Mountain biking, yoga, and traveling, especially south of the border, that's what lights me up. It lights my heart on fire.
Yeah, and I think that too often we think that we have to go down a specific path, or only one thing that we love we can do. We can't do multiple, but I think it's cool how you meshed them together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and there's a lot. Each one of those components of these trips is a part of what has helped me to transform into a better version of myself.
Mm-hmm.
It might sound kind of silly, but mountain biking, just I feel like there's so much you learn on the bike that applies to life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yoga is something that I don't know what I'd do without yoga. It's like my mental sanity. And traveling, when I had that big life event that happened a handful of years where, it was just one of those things that kind of rocked my world. And from that, I decided to live, I went and taught in Colombia, South America in an international school because I used to be a teacher. And
Mhm.
that was a huge game changer. And that's when all of a sudden I discovered this, like I had no idea how much I would love, traveling and the Latin and South American and Mexican culture and the language and the dance. Like it totally was a surprise, and it really changed the trajectory of my life. So it was really, really powerful.
What is what is something that you see that's different that you like about that culture?
Mm. You know, I really love it because I feel like there's just a different focus.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's more, you know, I mean, economically, it's a different world, right? And there's
Totally.
just not so much emphasis on, I feel like on material things and money. I mean, everywhere you go, every part of the world is going to have places that have a little bit of everything, right?
Mhm.
But I think in general, just what I find when I travel down there is I just things become more simple, and I really am able to tune in and recognize what is important, because you see, I mean, God, you just see how much people value the family and spending time together and just the simplicity, right? Without
Yeah.
having to worry about kind of all the pressures, just that stress and that materialism. I feel a lot more of that here. So
Yeah.
I like going down there to just kind of tune back into what really counts.
Yeah. I love that, and I can't wait to dive in a little bit more, but first let's talk a
Yeah.
little bit about your wins. Will you share with us what you are most proud of accomplishing?
Yeah, I would have to say I'm most proud of accomplishing creating something bigger than myself. And that is the business that I've invested in creating. So I'm most proud of the courage and bravery to pursue my greatest dream and the starting of Women's Radical Pursuits.
So, when did
And
you start Women's Radical Pursuit?
it's been about 4 years. 4 years ago is, when it all started, like all the little planting the seeds and the dream and everything.
Mhm.
I just finished my third year running my trip to Oaxaca. I got back early November. So that felt really good.
So, can you talk a little bit about what each trip entails?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I do right now. Currently, I'm just focusing on Oaxaca, Mexico, and we also do a trip down in the Sacred Valley of Peru. Uh, I had a couple different ones, but right now I'm just taking my focus and putting it into two places that I know really well and that are
Mhm.
working right.
Mhm.
So, but basically, the trip that I have in Oaxaca, one of them is in October, and we go down and do, the yoga and the mountain biking, daily yoga, mountain biking, and then it's over Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead festival.
Mhm.
So it's a really cool trip. I like to refer to it as kind of the yin and the yang of, the yin being like the backcountry up in the villages, the mountain bike part where we're staying in cabins and it's all peaceful and quiet and, we're
Right.
just tapped into this village life. And then the other days were based out of the city where the festival is taking place, and the city is just vibrant, and it's this festival that's like Oaxaca's the mecca to celebrate Dia de los Muertos. It's just incredible. And so it's just really two extremes, right? Like that yin and the yang. And then we also have, there's a lot woven into the trip, especially when we're in the city. We do a cultural city bike tour that we look at the all the street art. It's like graffiti, but it's all there's a real art movement in Oaxaca, and a lot of it is stories around their politics and just the stories of hardship in Oaxaca.
Mhm.
And then we do a hike to this hidden waterfall, and we go to Hirve el Agua is what it's called, and it's these mineral springs and petrified waterfall, and so there's a real variety. We explore the markets, and I feel like people just really get a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
And I feel really fortunate the people that I contract in Oaxaca, the outfitters, like the bike Pedro Martinez, Bicicletas, he's amazing and so knowledgeable. And then there's another guy, Carlos Hernandez, and he has Coyote Aventuras, and he has such a rich and deep knowledge of just Oaxaca and Mexico and the culture, and just adds so much with that. So it's
So
really great. Yeah.
it sounds amazing. And
Yeah.
you're a great storyteller. Like it makes me feel like
Oh,
I want to go or like I'm there.
oh, right on.
Yeah.
That's great.
So
That's,
do people have to know how to do yoga or to mountain bike to do that?
you know what? Yoga, not so much. I mean, anybody can come, right, for the yoga,
Hmm.
like, because yoga, it's kind of be where you are. And my classes are, I keep it really open to all levels. The mountain biking, so right now I'm kind of currently designing, trying to add in some more trips that have a little bit more variability,
Hmm.
because that it is a little hard, because the mountain biking is it is advanced to expert level. So I definitely, like, I have calls with everybody that's interested in trips, just to, make sure it's the right fit,
Yeah.
because I want people to love it. I want it to be something, the mountain biking is a right fit, the destination, and all of that. So, and Oaxaca is it's a little bit more mellow. Peru, the riding is even a little bit harder. It's more enduro style. It's kind of more downhill the first couple days. The
Uh-huh.
last couple days are cross country, a little bit of cross country, but it's actually really nice, because Peru, we start at about 16,000 feet. So the altitude is so intense that, that one's kind of nice not to have so much climbing on.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, and Peru is really cool. It's totally different, and it's really unique. It's, we do more riding on that trip. And then we also go to Machu Picchu, and we're in a little town called Urubamba, and there's markets, and it's really it's small. We do the markets at Cusco and have a day there as well. But Peru's just got, like, I don't know, you can't describe it. You just have to be there. Like, there is an energy or something that just kind of overtakes you. It's an amazing place. Like, just standing there amongst the mountains, honestly, it just overwhelms you and takes your breath away. It's just gorgeous. So
Yeah, that sounds pretty awesome.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
can you tell us something that most people don't know about what it took to accomplish your goal or starting your business?
Yeah, I would say it'd be all the fear that I had to break through to get to where I am today with Women's Radical Pursuit. Um, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff I've done. Like,
Uh-huh.
prior to this, just I've never been, I've done all sorts of different jobs and lived around the world and stuff. But honestly, this is probably the biggest thing I've ever taken on.
Mhm.
And there was a lot, like, so much fear that I had to face every day. And a lot of it was like, who am I to do this? Can I do this? It was just constantly battling those voices that come up.
Mhm.
But it was, I don't know, it's just this whole vision and the whole idea, when it came, it was just so strong that I was like, yeah, I'm doing it. Like, and it was like a one day at a time thing. And then, not to mention all the work that went into it, and continues. I would say, it never ends,
Mhm.
which I'm not complaining, because I really love it.
Right.
But, it's just thinking back to all the trainings and the programs and classes, the meetings and people, collaboration and ideas. I mean, it's just a lot. And the second part of that was, I was a school teacher, and prior to that, worked all sorts of different jobs. So
Mhm.
I didn't know anything about business or anything. I was like, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. So I feel really proud that I did. I've learned it. I'm all self-taught, and and that too is really humbling, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really humbling. But I did seek out mentors and coaches and programs, and there's a women's resource center here in Durango, for small businesses, that was really helpful. So it wasn't like there's so much more that goes into it. I was obsessed with it, right? I just wanted to do it, and so I figured out a way.
And I think that's so important for the listeners to think about is you don't have to know it all in advance. You just have
Hmm.
to follow your passion and follow one thing at a time. Like if you wouldn't
Right.
have went to that with the life coach that asked you those questions, you didn't have to hire him,
Right.
but you
Yeah.
invested in yourself and did the work that it was
Yep.
necessary to get to where you are.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
And he inspired me actually, which is so cool to like, I went and got my life coach training, so that's part of what I'm doing now on the side as well. Cause I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do. I want to help people. I want to help people break those fears and
yeah.
do this because it's possible. And I think because it still is so raw to me, right? Like I'm only
Uh-huh.
4 years in, I mean, I don't think it's ever ending, right? Like as a human being, we're always growing and
Yep.
you can always evolve and push yourself. And so I feel like I still break through fear now, but looking back to where I started, it's just like, wow, that's rad. And I want to help other people do that too. So he really inspired me in so many different ways.
Do you remember those questions that he asked you that were so life-changing?
Yeah, I remember the big one for me
Mm-hmm.
was, what would you be doing with your life if you didn't have to worry about money? Like if everything was all set, what would you be doing? And
Uh-huh.
and it just was a game changer for me because when I put aside, you know, like everything that I was all my work, um, you know, based on, and just like the job taking all the time and whatnot, I just was able to start being like, God, if I didn't have to go to a job every day, if I just had all the money in the world, like, what would I be doing? And it just came. Like, it was really crazy how that question was big. There was a lot of other ones that he used, but that one really stands out. And that's what got me to start. The creative juices just started to go.
So do you incorporate that question in your coaching now?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. I do.
Okay, so let's pivot a little bit and talk about your struggles.
Okay.
Tell us about a time when you gave up. Tell us about a time where you gave up, but now you wish you wouldn't have.
You know, I struggled with this question because I can't think of a time that I've given up with any regrets. I would say, oh God, one thing, I did have a teaching job. Oh, I guess it was about 4 years ago. That was like right around the time that I met this guy and we were kind of, starting to do this coaching work and I was starting to get these ideas and this and that. And anyways, I had the teaching job and I ended up getting sick. My health was really compromised. I think it was partially, there was a lot of stress and, some other things going on, but my health, that was the big reason why I decided to leave the job mid-year.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly can't look back at that to think I regret it because what came out of it was I got better, my health recovered, and I pursued my business. So as far as, yeah.
So when you stop doing something, what is typically what's your frame of mind like when you give up or stop doing something?
Mhm. Well, I mean, I think I've gotten pretty good at well, being intentional, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
especially with yoga, I think that's really taught me to anything that I'm doing. Just what is my intention? Like, why am I, calling this person, or why do I want to say this? Like, really getting intentional. So, I think that's really helped me. And I've done yoga for about 20 years. So I've over the years have really feel like I've practiced this well. But it's all about intention. So I feel like for example, if it is something that I'm doing and I look at it and I'm like, gosh, this isn't serving me, right? I
Mm-hmm.
think another thing that's really important is identifying your values. So a lot of time, like I've got a very clear definition of my values. So when I'm making decisions, it's based on my values. So when you kind of look at it in that way of, okay, values, intention, action, well, if my action, what I'm doing at the time isn't serving my values and my intentions, then I'm not going to do it. And I think that's why, I rarely make a choice that's just like, whatever, I'm just going to give that up and
Mm-hmm.
walk away. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I put a lot of thought into decisions that I make. So I
Do
guess I've
you
kind of shifted the attention to, just stop doing stuff that isn't serving me and focus on, what's going to take me to where I'm really want to go, like my big goals.
do you think that having that vision and kind of knowing who you are and what your values are, do you think that that helps you to be more decisive?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It affects every aspect of my life. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you share with us a story about one of the hardships that you have faced to get to where you are today?
I'm going to share something that is pretty recent, actually.
Okay. Yeah. Great.
Yeah. Yeah. Last January, my health, I had kind of, a couple years ago, I had a little, I kind of look at that one as like a smoke signal, right?
Mm-hmm.
But last January, I had a big smoke signal, I would say, and my health was challenged. And there was a couple different things going on. I had like thyroid, and my autoimmune system was getting a little out of whack. It turned out June, I found out I had a parasite. So I went through from about June to July, a time of I just felt awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I was having a hard time kind of really getting clear answers as to what was going on. But the hardship I really feel like I felt during that time was, I didn't have energy, and I feel like that spark, like, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're building a business, when you're doing all these things, that's your fire, right? Like all your
Yeah.
ideas and your passion. And so I really struggled, and it was affecting every area of my life. And to be honest, I hit a point where I was like, God, is this going to be the time where am I going to have to walk away from this? Like, this isn't working,
Mm-hmm.
because I was struggling to fill trips. I didn't have the energy. I wasn't putting in the hours like I had been. And so, but, I would say that was another thing, like the 6 years ago, that kind of life event when I moved to Colombia. It was yet another one that was kind of, it was a game changer, because I don't remember exactly when this was, but I just remember the day when all of a sudden it hit me, and I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I was like, responsibility, like, this is in my hands, like, stop running around and asking doctors, and stop, looking outside myself. Like, it's time to take this into my own hands and heal. And I got obsessed with healing on every level, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. I did do a lot of like kind of energy and spiritual work. Totally changed my diet to, I just all of a sudden was like, well, how can I support my body? So I did my own research on, how to support the thyroid. I picked up a different, I learned about the autoimmune protocol to kind of help calm down my immune system. Finally got the treatment for this parasite that I had. And then but one of the big ones, I had so much pain in my body. I was having really bad joint pain, and it was just weird. I don't know. So, but I'm so grateful for it now, because that drove me I joined Sweaty Buddha Yoga here in Durango, Colorado, which I
Uh-huh.
love. And, and before, like, I would choose exercise over yoga, like yoga would be kind of okay, I'll do yoga later,
Mm-hmm.
but because of all the pain I had in my body, I ended up dedicating to myself, just every day I'm committed. I go for at least an hour. I do a meditation practice every morning, and really just work with my mind, my mindset. And honestly, I think that's been a really big piece of kind of getting through that. But yeah, I'm feeling great though. I mean, in about 6 months now and I feel really good. I feel back.
Yeah,
So
that's so cool. And
it's
I like how
awesome.
you just took control. You could be the victim, or you can take
Yeah.
control and try to figure out answers. Now,
Yeah.
I know so many different medical conditions, and there's no way to give a sweeping answer for them all. But if there's somebody struggling with health issues, what would one thing that you'd recommend to them be?
Honestly, I would say get really quiet and really like tune into yourself, tune into your body, because you're the one that knows what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I think it was a blessing. I mean, I saw a lot of doctors, and who I greatly respect. But they're outside of ourselves. And I'm not saying don't see doctors. Absolutely. Like, go see doctors, but just connect to yourself, because really it's your body. What's going on, and somebody else might tell you something, that may or may not be the case, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Of what's going on with you. So I think, because I don't know, my experience just really taught me, like, really in the end, like, it's our choice. We have the answers. And a lot of times I feel like just everything in life, we're always looking outside of ourselves. Like,
Uh-huh.
oh, what should I do? What should I do? Well, you know what? Take some time to really just like go in and
Yep.
get to know yourself, and get quiet and listen to your body. And and give yourself that time during the day to connect, and I know, I mean, whatever, maybe meditation and yoga isn't for everybody, but there's different ways to do it, right? Like,
Yep.
you know,
Meditation, yoga, walk, nature,
yeah,
there's a bunch of
yeah,
options, but do something, like you said, to get quiet.
right. And I mean, I did a lot of research. I mean, I listened and I saw different doctors and, but I also kind of took it into my own hands with what I knew was going on with my body. And I just started doing my own research and experimenting. I mean, I did a bunch of different things with kind of just trying. It's just trial and error really is what it comes down to.
Right, right.
Um, so yeah.
We talked a little bit before the show started, and you said that you're not married and don't have any kids, but you have a significant other with kids. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yep.
So have you ever struggled with any of societal norms, like the people putting pressure to be married or to have kids?
No.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't know. I'm kind of that, what do they say? Somebody that or marches to the beat of a different drum.
Uh-huh.
I've always kind of been a little black sheep and, just never have been entirely I haven't at all been traditional.
Right, right.
And
I love
I'm
it.
okay with that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, I think especially like just within myself, like I don't care. Like I know what I want and
Uh-huh.
it doesn't bother me. I mean, sure, a lot of times when it would happen, I feel like where I would get any kind of pressure is if I went home to, see family in Minnesota. Everybody would
Mm-hmm.
always want to know, like, where's Mr. Right, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then also I noticed traveling down south, I think there is a little bit more traditional style, a lot of Catholic. So it's like getting married and having kids. So people would ask, but I never felt bad about it ever.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So that's my favorite, because I think I've done like 25 interviews. Not all of them are aired yet, but you're the first person that said no. So I love that.
Okay.
No, it's good. It's good to have different perspectives, and it's good that not everybody has to feel like, that they have this pull from what other people say. So I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's switch and talk a little bit about mindset. Tell me
Oh
about your
yeah.
mindset and how it has led to your badassery.
Well, I would say that's the biggest thing that has led to my badassery, right? And it's the biggest thing that's changed.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just speak to for a second that, I mean, honestly, in the past, I mean, I look back even probably 5 years ago, no, I'm going to say even more recent than that. I mean, I as humans, we're driven by fear, right? And, I had a lot of self-doubt and insecurity. I think life events and how we perceive things, as we move through life sometimes affects us. But, I was really so fear-based. But then I don't know, like, honestly, I feel like recently, in the last, I'd say maybe 3 months,
Mm-hmm.
is when I feel like my mindset has just become unshakable. And I'll give a lot of that credit due to my yoga and meditation practice and what
Uh-huh.
it's done. I have definitely invested more time and energy into my spiritual practice. What that is exactly, I don't know, but I do believe in something higher, right? I mean,
Yeah.
beating hearts and little babies and, like sunsets and sunrises. How can't you?
Right,
I don't know. I mean,
right.
I know I respect anybody and everybody for how we interpret things, but I guess I'm just speaking to mine, especially. Like, I really feel like in the last couple months, I've really turned to this deeper spiritual connection. And with that, I feel like I'm understanding my purpose and why I'm here, my calling.
Mm-hmm.
And I just, so I guess part of that mindset is it's due to my daily practice and my commitment to knowing myself and getting better. And like, I mean, every day when my feet hit the floor, it's kind of like, all right, you know what? I want to be a better version of myself than I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And so I do feel really dedicated to that. And I do feel really dedicated to my yoga and meditation practice. And I just give a lot of credit to this kind of spiritual connection that I feel like I've recently made.
Yeah.
And, in the past too, like as far as mindset, I mean, even before these last couple months, I would listen to, like, I had on YouTube, like Google motivational videos and affirmations, and always trying to see the glass half full, right?
Right, right.
And just really, really becoming conscious and aware of what my thoughts are, because what we've got rolling around up there affects everything we're doing. So I just tried to really put attention to, um, you know, positivity and just seeing the good in everything.
Yeah. And I don't know about you, but I love the feeling when you finally feel like you're unshakable, or like you're just kind of sitting with who you are and you're just comfortable with that. But
Yeah.
do you think, had you done yoga so regularly, even 10 years ago, do you think that you would have the same unshakable feeling if you hadn't have went through everything that you did?
Oh gosh, no. No, I think so much of my, these things that have happened, like kind of these challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that that's a big part of it. I think the yoga helped with my
Yeah,
mindset, like going through that, right?
totally.
Oh, and the other part that I forgot to mention, sorry, that I think attributes as well to my mindset is I started doing hypnotherapy. And
Can you
that I
explain
think
what
has
that
helped.
is?
Yeah, so hypnotherapy is basically it's a lady that she's trained in I guess you get hypnotized, right? But what I like about it is that it's therapy. So you talk about what's going on in your life, and basically when I showed up to her the first time, I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm so tired of living in this kind of mindset of lack and fear and just all my limiting beliefs. And I was like, I'm ready to change the tape. And that's a lot what they do is they work on changing that subconscious tape, because
Mm-hmm.
that's what plays all the time, right? Like we're not even aware of it. It's all the stuff that we learned when we were little, or just
Yeah.
going through life, like not to point fingers at anybody either. It's just how you start to interpret the world. So anyways, I just got really clear on like, God, I don't want to be afraid anymore. Like, I don't want to be so, I want to just see the world with new eyes, and I want to change the tape. And
Uh-huh.
so when I went to her, I talked to her about kind of what was going on and what I want. And then she does the session, and it's a hypnotherapy. So it's like, I guess, yeah, like I said, you get hypnotized, and then she gives me a guided script that I listen to every night, and it just kind of reprograms the subconscious tape, and it's been huge. So I'd say that plus the yoga, those are the two that have really been game changers in mindset for me.
Okay, so stupid question. But
No,
do you
none.
do you remember your hypnotherapy sessions like after they're done?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, and that's not a dumb question at all or stupid question. Because before I went into this, I mean, I think I just hit that level of desperation, where I was like,
Uh-huh.
I want to change so bad. And for years, like I said, I'd listen to these tapes and or these, sorry, like
Videos or
the videos,
mhm.
exactly, motivational videos, affirmations, yada, yada. And I'm like, God, I'm not really changing. Like, what's going on here? So I just kind of hit this level where I was like, I'm going to try anything and everything. And that
But
was when I was still kind of, dealing with some health stuff. And I thought, well, and I love like acupuncture and Reiki and energy work as well. But this one I was like, I've done a lot of work on this on my own and it's not working. So what's going on here? So yeah, to answer your question though, during the sessions, I remember everything.
okay.
It's not like what, cause I kind of thought too, I was like, oh wow, this is gonna be, I don't know. I'm imagining that little necklace that, you're watching and then you're out,
Right, right.
right? Like,
Yeah.
but it wasn't at all. It's like, you go into it's like a deep state of, you're almost in between, in between being awake and asleep.
Uh-huh.
And that's where that kind of records that subconscious programming. So
Very interesting.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
do you
No,
have any tips or tricks to help us improve our mindset?
absolutely. Yeah. I would say, right away, just when you wake up, even getting started, sometimes I think it's overwhelming, when I say this to people, even if you just sit for 1 minute, I mean, 1 minute in meditation daily, can just start to help you connect to yourself, number one,
Mhm.
and really just start to notice and become aware of what's going on in your mind. Cause I feel like we're just always going. But they do say 15 minutes of meditation that has the term neuroplasticity that we do. There is the possibility you can change your brain. You can rewire your brain. So when I heard that number 15 minutes, almost every day I meditate for 15 minutes because I was like, okay, if that's what I need to do to rewire what's going on in there, I'm doing it. So yeah, I would say, even if it's 1 minute, like just to start your day connected to yourself, I think is really powerful. And then, my magic medicine recipe, I would say is that 15 minutes of meditation. And then I do at least an hour of yoga every day. And luckily I've got the Sweaty Buddha that I go to, but you can do it at your house. There's so many different, like Yoga Glow is an app that you can do. It's like $18 a month, and there are these amazing classes. Like you can pick the times. So there's different ways to get into it, but it does really help. So
for the beginning yoga person who doesn't feel like they can sit, or not yoga, but meditation person who doesn't feel like they can sit still or keep their mind still, even for 1 minute, is there any suggestions you'd have for them?
Yeah, absolutely. So one really good thing to do is, you can do where you're counting your breaths, and that helps turn your attention, to as you're counting it, right? So you're one. So what you do, so just sit down, you shut your eyes, and then as you breathe in through your nose, you count. And maybe if it's a beginner, maybe do like 3 counts, 3 or 4 to start. And so you breathe in through your nose for 3 counts, and then hold it for like 1 second, and then breathe out of your mouth for 3 counts. And as you're doing it, so you're like 1, 2, 3, hold, and then 3, 2, 1, hold. And so the idea behind that is that, you're not just sitting there and your mind's going. So your mind is focused on the counting at that point. So you're just able to kind of stop, right?
Yeah.
And it really helps to create focus and, awareness, and just shut the brain off for a while, because most of the time it's just playing the same stuff, right?
Yeah,
It's just that
totally.
tape over and over and over. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So it kind of helps.
Tape.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
No, I like that tip because it's actionable, something that we can put into practice. So thank you for that.
Yeah, sure.
So, can you share one of your greatest mindset hacks for confidence and self-esteem?
I'm going to have to go back to spirituality.
Okay.
Honestly, because we just hit that, I know, but it really, I feel like, has become kind of my superpower. That, along with, like, I would say with the lack of confidence and the insecurity and all that, I would say was right up there with like fear and self-doubt for so long. And, I would try all these things. Like I'm just obsessed about getting better. Right. And I couldn't do it on my own. I don't know. But I feel like I said, it's ever since I really committed to my yoga and my meditation practice, and just by doing that, you connect. It creates a natural connection to spirit. Right. And so anyways, I feel like I started to just see myself less. I was like, you know what? I'm more than this human experience. I'm more than this ego. Like we're so much bigger, and there's so much more power, I think, that we hold that we just don't recognize. And so personally, I'm just speaking of course,
totally.
I just see, spirituality has helped me tap into that power, I think, and realize that, yeah, you know what, I'm human and I make mistakes, but I am bigger than that, and so that's just helped me kind of get over some of my little hangups, and insecurities.
So let's pivot a little bit and talk about tips or things that you've learned. If you could share one tip that you wish every female knew about, what would it be?
Oh, that you're enough.
Yes.
Yeah, you're enough. You're smart enough. You're pretty enough. You're good enough. You're capable enough to do anything. You're just more than enough.
Yep, as you are.
We're unlimited beyond measure, and we, like I just said, we hold so much power and potential to do anything and everything. And so yeah, and that was something that I struggled with for a long time. One of my voices was I wasn't good enough, and it's BS.
So do you know what you did to work on that, to believe that you are enough?
Right. Honestly, I would say, it was getting quiet. It was doing the yoga, doing the meditation, the mindset, the hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy has been huge because that was all about reprogramming those beliefs.
And how long have you done hypnotherapy for?
I started it I think the first time I did it was in August.
And have you done any regular therapy, and do you see, a benefit or difference in either of them?
You know what? I did in the past, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I think it helped, just being able to talk about things when I look back. But what I find personally, just I guess what I like is I do work with a life coach currently.
Mm-hmm.
She's a life and business coach, and that I love, that works for me because I like you got to talk about things, but I like having a, like, where am I going, and
Yeah.
I don't want to talk about what's happened, dissect any all that stuff anymore. Like, I want to just identify what I want and who I want to be, and what I want my life to look like, and go for that. And I feel like life coaching really kind of is about moving forward, and kind of that forward momentum. And the hypnotherapy, I really like it because, again, it's more about, for me, what I want to do is I want to just replace these tapes that I've been playing. So
Yeah.
so that works for me, I guess. Yeah. And,
And it's
that's what I do. Yeah.
and it's kind of funny because I said regular therapy. It's like all therapy is so different. I don't
Right.
think that
Yeah.
there is a regular therapy.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So, how do you get inspired and stay motivated?
I focus on the work and ideas that light me up. And it's like the inspiration just never stops. So I guess that kind of goes along with the, making sure whatever I'm doing is connected to my values, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it's intentional. And I feel so fortunate. I finally found a job that I feel like it's the work that I'm doing with the Family Center, the Family Coalition.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing coaching with them and advocacy. And so finding what you like, because when you love what you do, then it's easy, right?
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
inspiration comes, the motivation is there because
More
you're
energy.
aligned. Yeah, you're aligned with what is important to you. So, yeah.
Perfect. So, let's talk a little bit about badass advice, and this is going to be more rapid fire.
Okay.
What was your turning point for accomplishing your goals and becoming a badass?
Running my first trip to Oaxaca.
Awesome.
Yeah, yeah.
And what did that feel like when you planned your first trip?
Oh my God. It was incredible. It was really easy, like all the dreaming and kind of visioning and like I'm really good with creative energy and just like doing all that stuff,
Uh-huh.
that it felt easy to get the trip put together. But when it came down to it, like the day before I left, I mean, I thought I was going to die. I was so stressed and I was terrified, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
I can only
the
imagine.
first one. Yeah. But, it just, that was huge because it was when I remember, there's a couple milestone moments during that trip that I was just like, oh my God, this is happening and this is amazing. And people, they're loving it, and the day the ladies left, I mean, I just cried because I was like, oh my God, it was just seeing all that hard work and it happened. It was really, really amazing.
Can you
Yeah.
describe that feeling?
Oh, how do you describe that? I
I know.
I don't know how to describe. I mean, it was like I said, I mean, it was overwhelming. It was like tears of joy. It was tears of, there was like struggle in there, and I mean, it was just every emotion just came up,
Mm-hmm.
and I think probably even to follow up with that, it was when I got the feedback from the ladies that had came on that first trip and reading that, and I remember just being like, oh my God, like they're what they experienced on the trip was exactly what I wanted this trip to be for them.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like another follow-up moment of just like, wow, like this happened. I did it.
And I wonder if that's
Um
because you had such a big vision for it.
yeah, yeah. I probably.
Like, if you sit there and envision something all the time or think about something and how you want it to be and how you want it to feel, then maybe it's easier to communicate that, or I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Gosh, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of the envisioning, and then there was a lot of the, hard work and
Yeah,
sweat and
totally.
tears and everything that went into it. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you have a morning or evening routine that you can share with us?
Yeah, I think I hit it earlier, but I'll just reinforce it that, every day almost every day. Meditation sometimes slides, depending on the day, but I'd say probably 6 out of 7 days a week, like 15 minutes of meditation right when I wake up,
Uh-huh.
and an hour to an hour and a half of yoga daily it's my secret sauce routine.
All right. What kind of yoga?
Yeah. I love doing vinyasa yoga, like vinyasa. I like hatha and restorative as well. But I really like that connecting breath to movement
Oh, okay.
and the flow. Hmm.
Can you list one thing that you have learned from a woman in your life?
Yeah, to always be kind.
It's simple but good. I like it.
Yep.
Can you share a habit or practice that has contributed to your success?
Yeah, I think I would say to always see the good in people and situations, just in everything. There's always something good. Like even in the worst situation, there's a silver lining or a lesson or something of value. So I think when we can train our brains to just see good in everything, it has a really powerful, impact.
It is not easy, but I agree.
Yeah, right. Definitely not easy, but I know it's helped me a lot.
Yeah, and negative people can just be like energy vampires. They just suck your energy. So yeah, definitely seeing
Yeah.
good and being positive, I could see how that would help.
Mhm. Yep.
So what do you wish everyone knew about confidence and overcoming obstacles?
All about mindset and belief and that it can be changed. I'd say, it doesn't happen overnight, but if you really want it, if you're motivated, if you can commit to making the change, anything's possible.
So good. How often do you read, and can you recommend a book and share why?
Yeah. I'm always reading.
Me too.
uh, yeah, and actually, I have the Audible books because I do landscaping. I do all sorts of other stuff kind of on the side. So when I have moments where I try to fill up with learning.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of that. I would say I'd probably average about 1 to 2 books a month. The first one I would highly recommend it's called "You're a Badass" by Jen Sincero.
Yeah.
I love this book. And I remember reading it kind of in the early stages of when I was starting my business.
Uh-huh.
I just recommend it because it was a huge game changer for me. It really helps you stop doubting your greatness and just go balls to the walls towards a life that's just one that you love. And it's
Absolutely.
hilarious. It's
Yes.
like, it is so funny. I just love her book. I'm going to recommend the second one because I actually am currently reading it and I'm really loving it. And
Go for it.
it hits on that, the last question that you asked about, what is it, changing. And it's about mindset and belief. So the second book is The Secrets of the World Class, Turning Mediocrity into Greatness by Steve Siebold.
Hmm.
And this book it's just been revelationary for me too. He uncovers the mental toughness secrets of
Hmm.
champions. So it's
Sounds
about
good.
dreaming bigger, achieving more. He studied peak performers for 20 years and discovered what made them tick and what made them into champions. So every chapter finishes with an action step and just kind of leads you down the path to go from, if you want to take it to the next level, go from mediocrity to greatness. It's an awesome book.
That sounds awesome. I'll have to check it out, and I'll definitely
Yeah.
put it in the show notes so that everybody can
Yeah.
take a look at it.
Perfect.
So
Cool. Great.
let's end with the tip to empower women and share how the audience can connect with you.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So let's see. Can I give you 3 quick little tips for empowerment? Is that cool?
Absolutely. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, awesome. My first one would be to develop a practice or routine that helps you build focus, attention, and connection to yourself. I would, just because it's personally worked for me, I would recommend trying yoga and maybe mindfulness practice. But
Okay.
I also understand that's not everybody's jam, right? So,
Yeah.
anything from exercise or something that's going to teach you some self-discipline, breath control, and focus for the mind. I would say would be good. But just by starting a daily practice and committing to yourself, you're saying like, I value and love myself and I want this,
Yeah.
and it's really gotta come from, deep within, and you've got to know yourself.
So
I'd say the second one, another tip to empower that I'd like to share is to put energy into your financial health. This might sound silly, but in my job, I work with a lot of families in crisis, and I'm just seeing the impact of financial health on, just that stress, money, and health are so tightly linked.
Yes.
That, I mean, and if you don't know, I mean, I know that can be an overwhelming one, but like there's books, there's stuff online, there's Financial Health Institute is amazing. They have great resources. So anyways, that's one that I feel like has some really, really empowering effects. And then the last one and the big one is find what you love and pursue it with all your heart and soul.
That's so good. I love those three. And
Cool.
I just think that they're solid to keep you grounded, but they're also, you can start at any time. It doesn't matter if you're, 18 years old or 81. Those can be put into practice.
Yes.
If you'll share how the audience can connect with you.
Yeah. So you can visit, I have a website called womensradicalpursuits.com. I also have Facebook and Instagram pages that are womensradicalpursuits.com. And on my website, there's a bar to contact me. I've got different offerings, from the transformational adventures of mountain biking and yoga to life coaching, all sorts of stuff that you can find on there.
Awesome.
Cool.
I can't wait for people to give feedback on the show and to check out your stuff, because I think that they're going to really enjoy it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Maria. I really appreciate this.
Yeah, thank you. So with that, we'll end our show. To all the badass women out there staying in the arena, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, own it and get after it. Thank you for listening to this episode of the show. As a newer podcaster, I would be so grateful if you went over to iTunes and left a review. That way, people just like you can learn about the show and become a listener. Also, I would love for you to screenshot your review and send it to me over on Instagram @ordinary2badass. So that way I can make sure to thank you. I'm so appreciative of you. Talk to you soon, friend.
Now that you've listened to this episode of Ordinary to Badass, we want to hear from you. Go to our website, ordinary2badass.com/podcast, and submit your own experience on how you took your life from ordinary to badass, and get the chance to be on a future spotlight episode of the show. That's ordinary2badass.com/podcast. While you're waiting for the next episode of the show, wipe off the sweat, dust off the dirt, and get back in the arena.